everybody. We had an off week, but we are back.
We're back, full force.
Yes, we are here. If you guys haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell, and also smash that like button.
Wait out, that's what we're picking.
You can gently graze it, you can elbow it, you can punch it. It just depends on how you're feeling.
And you could break your phone. So
Yes.
there's that.
Yeah. Whatever you want to do.
It is mandatory. So now that the FRAG 105.4 has SPS in it, we've got to be able to maintain the levels in it and make sure it's staying on track. So as we're going to talk about today is dosing and nutrient control in an SPS system. Let's get started. All right, we are back.
Welcome back. We want to thank Shane, Henry, Ryan, Steve, Art, Aaron, all you guys for being in here. And again, if you haven't done it already, hit that like button. It's the currency to win today's prize. So
Yes,
if you hit the like button, we're going to give away some free stuff.
So this is a fully SPS system sponsored by Worldwide Corals. And along with that is they're actually giving away two $25 gift cards as well. So you've got to engage in the comments, ask questions, all of that good stuff. That's going to be your entry into, possibly winning the gift card. So you don't want to miss out on that. Go stock up with some nice corals, get 25 bucks off. So definitely post all your questions. We'll get to a lot of them later as we kind of go through everything about nutrient control and stuff as well. We're going to show the website.
Yes, so if you guys haven't seen it already, we have a page set up for this whole build, right?
It's a continuation from the first build we did about a year ago for the FRAG 105.4, which Worldwide also sponsored that livestock and fish and stuff and the corals in that one. So now it's the FRAG revisited, or revamped, I guess you can say, because we ripped out all the existing corals as softies and LPS mostly, and are going full SPS with it. So if you go to that web page, it's now going to show all the new SPS episodes that we do, and we're also going to put the livestock that we're adding in there. So it's coming up in a minute.
Yeah, they're working on that right now. It's always kind of tough to tear a tank down like that and take everything, because it was so beautiful, but we also have to give the viewers what they want.
Yes, and we haven't done an SPS build, so this is our chance to kind of help people also get into SPS, because it's a very kind of daunting at first, because you hear about how hard they are and extra work and stuff. So hopefully with going through this process, we're going to make it a lot easier for people to want to jump into it. So that website, that web page will have all of the episodes put on there, all the livestock that's getting added as well. So keep an eye on that.
Do we have a URL for that, Keenan, too? I think we do.
It's a pretty long one.
I think it's /FRAG.
Switch back to the website and I'll show you an easy way to get there.
Okay. So if you guys want to head over, if you want to get to this website here, you head over to videos first. You get to this videos page there on the left, you'll see build series and
A guide to setting up a reef aquarium.
Yep, there you go. A guide to setting up a reef aquarium right there on the left under build series, and that's how you're going to get to that. So this is an update to a series that we already did, converting it to an SPS. You can see the coupon code for Worldwide Corals, all the different corals we've added thus far, and we'll keep updating this as we go along.
Yep, so you'll see the code up there. That's going to go all the way through the series. Put that in at checkout, get a discount. And so it's going to have all the stuff that we've added to this, but also if you go low, further down, it has all the original episodes too. And this was like a 10-week build using all the Ecotech equipment, how to set up and very kind of detailed to kind of guide you along the process. So it's a good one to check out as well, especially if you're thinking of setting up an aquarium where you just want some inspiration on yours. So
yeah, it's a great series. Can't believe it's been over a year since we did that.
I know. Now it's completely overhauled and doing something different. So 2 weeks ago, Joe from Worldwide came up. He brought some corals, the first SPS to go into the FRAG. We added those in there. And now that we have SPS in there, we have to really keep an eye on nutrient levels and then also things like alkalinity, calcium, and magnesium. And the best way is, for that kind of stuff is to be testing regularly. We're going to set up the Versa doser on the Mobius, which we're going to show you that a little bit later. But the number one thing is you have to keep them within levels for color, growth, all of that. Yeah. And you can't set up your doser until you know how much you need to dose, which can kind of be a little bit of a tedious process in the beginning. So I'm going to kind of walk you through what I've done with the tank over the last 2 weeks to get myself ready to set up the doser.
Right. So I can tell you that, like, when I first started keeping SPS, the number one thing that I found helped me be the most successful is making sure that these 3 levels were in check all the time.
They must be.
If those were good, I was keeping up with those with water changes and obviously salinity, but
Yeah.
these 3 elements, and then, you know, just making sure your dosing regimen is good, that's what showed the most color, growth, et cetera. like you said.
Consistency of
Yeah.
everything is really key when you have an SPS tank. So,
Cool.
yes.
What happened?
Slides.
So we have some slides here for you guys that we're going to run you through.
Like I said, so it's going to be a breakdown of how over the last 2 weeks I've been testing to figure out what the uptake is, dosing, kind of some trial and error to find that set amount that we need.
So just to clarify, you tested, you made a log of it, and then you kind of monitored it. So like this is something that these guys should do it too. Is make sure to
You
write
have
it down.
to. You
Write
have
it down,
to.
put in Excel something.
Right, you can't really just from day one say, oh, the bottle of what I have says put in 5 mLs for my tank size and all is going to be good, because it's not. Every tank
Yeah.
has different uptake. And what I'm testing for now is going to change a lot as more corals go in. So it's not
Right.
like a one time, oh, it takes up this much and then you don't have to do it again. But this is how to kind of get it started.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, so how much do I dose? This is how you're calculating your Reef Aquarium's alkalinity, calcium, and magnesium needs. So the most important one is alkalinity. This has got to stay stable. If this fluctuates a lot, you're going to have corals die off. They're stressed. Nothing's going to grow or be as happy. So you'll see the first day was 7:30, so it's been a little bit over 2 weeks that I've been dosing, or testing and dosing. Baseline was 8.2 DKH. And that's where we're starting at, our alkalinity level. Then I went ahead, I think it was a weekend, gave it 3 days. Then I tested again, had dropped to 7.6. So I went ahead and said, okay, there's a 0.2 drop in alkalinity per day, and according to the bottle, I should dose 8 mLs of alkalinity per day for that amount of a drop.
Okay.
Did that. Turns out the next day, my alkalinity skyrocketed. It was not the right answer. This is why you can't follow the bottle, because it is not always going to be correct. A lot of it can have different concentrations. Depends if it's a premix or one you mix yourself. And I went ahead, just because of how much it went up to 9, I didn't want to keep it quite that high. I'm going to decrease the dosing and skip a day as well to let that number drop a bit. You'll see a couple days later, it's gone down to 8.5. Going to start that 4 mLs. And you'll just see, so there, every couple of days I'm testing again. It went down all the way to 8, so it means it's taking up more than I'm dosing, which was 4 ml, so it's using more than that. So I went up just to 6. And that's a little trial and error. Just go a little bit up or a little bit down, see how it responds over a few days. Tested the next day, dead even at 8. Went ahead and gave it 7 days to really see over the span of time, because if you get too granular in every single day, it's going to fluctuate a bit. And that one, there's something in front of it, I think it's 8.
7.8.
7.8. And that I tested before I had dosed that day. So that's a reasonable drop of that 0.2. And I'm going to maintain that 6 ml alkalinity, and that's what I'm going to put into the doser.
So your target, what is your real target here? Is it about 8?
8 to 8.5 is kind of where I like to keep it for SPS tanks. You can go a little bit higher, but since we use Tropic Marin salt, it has a little bit of lower alkalinity in the salt mix. So I don't want to bring my alkalinity up so high, and then every time you do a water change, it brings it back
fluctuates,
down, and you take the steep drop.
Well,
So
just for intensive purposes, I guess, natural seawater, I don't recall exactly. I think it's like 7.
it's 7 something.
7.2. Maybe you guys can put it in the comments. I don't remember exactly. I know it's in the low to mid 7s.
Yeah, I think it's right around mid 7, so that's natural seawater. And also in a low nutrient system, which a lot of SPS tanks are, you don't want high alkalinity, you actually want lower alkalinity. It just works better for the corals in a low nutrient type system.
Cool.
So that's how I got to my alkalinity. Next one we're checking on is calcium. Calcium is used by corals to build their skeleton, and SPS have pretty much all skeleton. So it's extremely important to keep that available. Keep it between 400 and 480. It can fluctuate in there. It doesn't have to stay exact. Just as long as it's in that range, it's enough for the corals to have it for their skeleton growth. Same thing here. Because it was not as dire to keep it so tuned in, I didn't test as often. So started on 730, it was 502, bit high. Went ahead and waited for about 10 days, see where it went to. dropped to 468, calculated at 3.4 per day for calcium. And according to the bottle, it said dose 25 mLs of calcium per day. It did not work again. It was too high of a dose, so it jumped all the way to 517 the next day, went ahead and dropped dosing to 5, all the way down to 5.
Okay.
Gave it another 7 days, and you'll see that by going down to 5 mLs, it did drop quite a bit. But I'm going to keep it at 5 mLs because I do want to bring the calcium down just a little bit and see if it maintains it, or if I need to go ahead and increase up maybe to like 8 mLs a day of the calcium. But I'm going to give it a whole nother week before I test it again. Because
Okay.
as long as it's within that range, you don't have to like test every single day, almost like with the alkalinity.
Right.
If you go and you're testing alkalinity, you walk away for a week and it plummets or it goes way too high because your dosing's off, it's going to have a bad effect. The calcium, you can have a lot more leeway with.
Okay, cool.
So,
Very good.
last one, and a lot of people ignore this, is
Oh my goodness.
magnesium.
I have to tell a story first because magnesium, for me, when I first took the dive into SPS, was the one thing that I ignored, and it's the one thing that screwed me up perpetually for a long time.
Yes.
I did not test for it. I didn't get it to the, because a lot of the salts, at least in that day, were, maybe didn't have a lot of magnesium. Maybe I was using the wrong salt, but
Yeah.
when I brought the magnesium up, things changed.
It is, and I unfortunately find a lot of places, either online or in stores and stuff like that, where when people get into corals and then people are like, it's really a two-part. You don't have to worry about magnesium. It's really not that important. Your tank doesn't use a lot of it. This is false.
Yeah.
For soft corals, no problem. Who cares what your magnesium is for the most part? LPS, it is important still because magnesium aids in the absorption of calcium to the coral skeleton. If your magnesium is too low, your calcium, even if it reads higher, cannot be used. So basically, your magnesium should be 3 times what your desired calcium level is.
Wow.
So if you keep
Didn't know that.
So you could have calcium at 500, but your magnesium is say 1,000. So if you divide the 1,000 by that, you have 300 and something. That's actually what calcium your corals can take. So it makes sure that they can uptake the calcium. So it's extremely important for anything that has a coral calcium skeleton. So don't overlook it. So same with this, because it's not as dire. I kind of did every so often checking on it. Starting point 1310, went ahead and gave it 10 days, dropped down to 1290, not a big uptake. And there is usually magnesium isn't a big uptake, so it's not going to drop drastically. Calculated it drops 4 per day, and dosing at 13 milliliters of the supplement. And checked the next day, jumped up a little bit too much, so I just went down to 2 mLs. Checked it after 7 more days, kind of staying where it is, but I just increased up to 5 ml. I'm going to give it another week, and I'll check it again.
Yeah.
But as long as it's staying in the ballpark, you're fine. Like I said, aiming for 3 times what your desired calcium level is.
Yeah, and this is what she did here with logging the results and all that. That's one of the biggest reasons for making sure that your tank's pretty mature and pretty stable.
Yeah.
You've dialed in a lot of these elements over time. You've really gotten used to the consistency and the, the stabilization of the system. So, I mean, you can see it takes a little bit of patience and time to really dial that kind of stuff in.
But you want to have it dialed in
Understand
before
it.
you get too far into adding stuff. And like I said, this is based upon, we have 12 or so corals that Worldwide brought last 2 weeks ago. So as those grow and we add more and more corals in, that uptake is of course naturally going to increase.
Yeah.
So you can't just set and forget it. I say it's good once a week, recheck those. If you test it every week, like, okay, everything's still staying stable, go ahead and move it every 2 weeks. Kind of stretch it out, but don't just stop testing those things, because they can change a lot more than you think if you just go weeks without checking it, because everything's been doing fine.
Excellent.
So that's how you figure out. You got to do a lot of testing, a lot of writing it down, a little bit of math, but it'll be worthwhile in the end. So.
Yep, it definitely requires a bit more patience and homework, et cetera, if you want to do a full SPS tank. There's just no way around that.
Yes.
They're much more picky with water conditions.
They are, and like if you have a tank all soft coral, zoos, leathers, all that, all those levels can pretty much fluctuate a good deal, and they would not care hardly at all. I mean, alkalinity always has to stay within somewhat of a reasonable range because it does affect pH and stuff, but it can fluctuate. LPS, they're going to be a little bit more sensitive to it, but they can handle the fluctuations a bit more. SPS just don't. They're not going to they don't want it. They stability is everything for them. So just keep that in mind. So now, figured out what our dosing is, what has stayed good for the last week, the level, and what we want to set the Versa to actually dose at. And then this way I'm not worried about daily dosing. I just have to go in once a week and kind of test and check that it's staying where it's at, adjust if needed. So we're going to set it up on the Mobius because we have all Ecotech equipment on there. Our lights and power heads are already run on the Mobius app. So we're going to go ahead and add the Versa.
You know, hold on a second, because
Yes.
when we switch to yours, we lose the audio.
Oh, okay.
All right, so they're going to fix something back there, and then we'll jump back into the Mobius demonstration. But she's
Yes.
going to show you. You're showing how to set it up. Okay.
Yeah. So dosing used to be there never were dosers before, but then when dosers came around, it was honestly, you would set it up and it would run at a certain speed, like you'd put it on a timer to turn on for, okay, I'm going to have it turn on for 5 minutes every day. I mean, we're talking about the little rotary timers that's plugged into. Timer goes off, and then you have to calculate, like with a cup of water or whatever, how much it moves over in that 5 minute period. And okay, that's too much. Let me go to 3 minutes. And like, it was so not exact. Yeah, and then, you know, they've slowly kind of gotten better and better to where they can do some calculations for you. But for the longest time is you had to figure out how much that doser would moving, and you put it on a timer and hope that it moved that much in that time over to the tank. So we're good. Okay.
I also I had a 200-gallon SPS tank, so there weren't even dosers at that time. So I was dosing like 60, 80, 100 milliliters a day.
Yes.
I was going through gallon jugs of.
There's Calquaster mixed in. You're on a top off, but then you don't really know how much it's adding. You just have to keep checking, and if you evaporate more, it raises everything else up more. Yeah, it's come a long
You
way.
guys that are in the hobby now have it easy. I have to say that. It's come a long way.
You can get anything automated, pretty much. It's quite nice. No, yes.
Can you hear me?
Technical difficulties, real life.
Dun, dun, dun. I'm singing so they can, you know.
La 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 la.
Go ahead, let's see if the viewers say that they can't hear you.
Hey, can you guys hear us?
Let us
Sounds
know
great.
if you can hear us.
Okay.
Okay. All right, we are good. We're going to continue on with our Mobius demo here. Okay, so opening on up Mobius.
No one's answering me, so I don't think they can hear me.
All right, so we're on our home page of the FRAG, and what we're going to do is adding equipment to the little plus button up at the upper right. It's going to do a device search. So once you plug in an Ecotech item, it's going to show up here to be pulled over to Mobius and be able to add them here. So we got the 4. I'm just going to click them all, even though I'm only using. Yeah, reset. Okay. One of them wanted to stay. Pew pew. So I took them off of here so that you guys can see how to set it up.
What's really cool about the Versa is that all the doser heads are kind of like controlled independently, which I mean would be true with another one, but they're you know, even when you're programming them, it's
Let's make me do this for this. I took them off of here, but they know that they were at some point connected to our FRAG.
Yeah.
I was playing with it. So we're gonna add 3 of them because we're only dosing the 3 things. You can use the 4th one. I know people have used it for automatic water changes.
Yeah, you can definitely use them for, you know.
Dosing food, other additives, that kind of stuff. If it's things that can stay not refrigerated, then they would be fine down there. I'm waiting for this last one to configure. That's how it works.
When you're ready, and we'll switch back to it.
All right.
Shane says Mueller.
All right, we're good. Sorry, bring it on back. All right, so I got 3 of them here. Gonna go on to next firmware, it's checking it. I did this earlier, should be good, just takes a second. And also, you know, it's a good thing because it's making sure that it has the latest update and technology from Ecotech. And configuring devices.
What's cool about these, you know, newer devices from Ecotech Marine is how easy they are to configure.
All you're hitting is next and doing what it tells you on the screen, so you like can't go wrong. Setup complete. Yes.
You really don't even need to look at it. I mean, if you're technical enough, you really, I mean, you can do this just by going into the app without looking at an instruction manual.
So in the very beginning here, it's going to walk you through and make it really easy. So this is the first Versa dose all the way to the left. Additive, first thing we're going to hit. It's going to let you pick from your common ones that you want to use. We're going to start with calcium. And then daily dose. We're going to go here. My daily dose I said of calcium was, I had my paper, and I don't know where it is.
Was it 5 mL?
We're going with 5. You can adjust it easy. All right,
Yeah.
5 mLs here. And I'm going to hit next. All right, brings you to the next one.
It's cool. It's even got the little visual representation up there. It tells you where they're at on the actual base plate.
We're going to go alkalinity for this one. And I think 6. I don't know. Like I said, I can adjust them, but this is going to be whatever you have figured out. Going to hit done. Daily dose. Next. And we have magnesium. Daily dose 4. And done. So technically from that point, you are kind of done with your setup, but you can go in and get a little bit more detail in here. So your little Versa symbol down at the bottom, hit that, and it's going to show you which ones you have, what their additive is, and also how much of that dosage they've dosed today. So you can see under each one it says SMART. The Ecotech gives you a couple different configurations of how the doser doses your stuff, and you can pick. So we're on SMART, and what that does is it says best time to dose your calcium is going to be between this time. So it's picking like 1 to 6 here. And if you want to change that mode, it automatically sets it up. And what it also is cool, and I'll show you when we get to alkalinity, is it makes sure none of the additives are dosing at the same time.
Nice.
Which is important because alkalinity cannot dose at the same time as calcium. They will bind together and you would have just precipitated out and wasted all of your additives. So they can't dose at the same time. So you can go in there and change your mode. Just hit in there. Smart is what it automatically sets to, and I think a lot of times just keep it that way, and unless you have a particular reason why you need to have it at a certain time. But if you go to custom, it's going to let you choose your time that you want it to start and end. So if you're like, no, I really don't want it to dose at that time, and you can even just with your fingers move it along your guide.
Yeah, that little chart on the
Make
left
it
side.
bigger if you want. Okay, I need to dose over this. And you'll see it actually will tell you, okay, that's too little amount to dose over that large of a time. So you'll see at the bottom rate, volume too small. So it won't let you set it unless it can actually dose that small amount over that time.
Nice.
But I'm going to keep it a smart. And move my time, but that's okay. All right, so there's that time. Container volume, if you want to set it up, you can say I have 250 mLs of additive I put in here and add that. It's going to tell you when before it's empty so that you don't run out and you're not dosing.
Right.
It's kind of just an add-on. It's not necessary, but it's kind of a nice feature. The little dropper button at the top middle, if you hit that, this is an instant dose. This is adding beyond what your doser is set for. This is beneficial. Okay, you have this set, it's dosing 5 mLs every day of calcium. You go and check a week or two later, you've tested it, and you're like, well, okay, that dropped. You know, it's 30 points lower than I want it to be. This will let you say, okay, man, I need to add 15 mLs to get this back
Like
up to where I
additional.
want. This just lets you dose it right then and not interfere with your dosing schedule or the amount that you have set.
Wow, that's cool.
So you can just walk in and be like, oh man, okay, I need 15 mLs in here. And let's see here. 15 mLs, I just need in right away. Go ahead and put it over 1. Done. And then it'll dose that extra for you.
Nice.
Yeah. There's some other features if you look up at settings, if you want to use these, max daily dosage. So in case you don't want to make sure that someone can't come in there and do like that add dose or something and go too much.
Right.
Little small little features that generally a lot of times you're not going to use. So calcium is all set. Oh, and you'll look, so if I did that instant dose, it is now dosed 6 something of the 5 mLs today because I've added that extra 15 mLs, and it's dosing it over the next minute. That number will continue to increase up to the 15. It really lets you see what's going on here. So alkalinity, same thing. You'll see that it smart automatically puts your alkalinity dosing in the evening because that's when your pH level would drop. So by adding your alkalinity in the evening, it helps stabilize your pH at night. So it is really smart.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it automatically sets it at evening time, which is the best time to dose your alkalinity. So really, these guys are all set. I don't have to do anything. You'll see calcium is now up to 15 milliliters because I just did that instant dose, and I'll still have that 5 to dose in the designated time frame later.
Cool.
It's just that easy.
Yeah, it's very easy. There's so many different options too.
Yeah.
That makes it just so real, like very, very simple to set up.
Super user friendly. I mean, you're just following the guides. If you know how much you need to dose, let them do the smart feature and figure out when and how much it needs to dose over a period of time, and just set it smart, this many mLs, and you walk away and just test whenever you need to make sure it's on track.
What's cool, if you guys don't already know, with the Mobius platform, our lights, our return pump, our Powerheads are all hooked up to that.
Yep.
So, and I'm
can
sure
see
there's going to be
everything.
other devices down the road that will connect to it as well. So you can have this whole system running on Mobius.
It's great. It makes it really easy because especially here, we can jump in between tanks on the one app, do any changes we need to. We don't have to worry about separate apps or separate loadings or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, all right, if we have any questions, we'll go and take those.
NYOS says, will Waterbox be at Reefapalooza Chicago? Unfortunately, we will not, but I'm sure that there will be Waterboxes there.
Oh, there always are. So you'll
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll be able to see Waterbox around. We just will not actually be there showing any aquariums, but I guarantee you can probably find some.
For sure.
See if there's any questions here. That's a good question, though. Since there were no videos last week on Wednesday or Thursday, did I see the bonus word for the week? Was there one? There was not.
There was not. So
It was
maybe we
completely
should
off
do
week.
tomorrow? I don't know. Or are we just skipping it?
You can skip it.
Yeah.
So you guys will
How
get.
about this? Follow us on Instagram and we'll hook you up with an extra one.
Oh, all
There
right.
you
Follow
go.
on Instagram. You'll get that extra bonus word dropped.
Yeah,
So,
Definitely head over to Instagram.
and then we'll have our normal one tomorrow. But yeah, last week we were just completely off. So
Yeah.
no bonus words or anything. All
our
right.
first off week in a very, very long time.
I know, it was.
It was nice. Yeah. But we're also happy to be back.
Always very happy. Noah says, do I need carbon if I use a refugium? Yes, they do separate things. Carbon is always a good thing to have. Catches impurities, discolorations, toxins, all of that. A refugium is to remove nutrients like nitrate and phosphate, not necessarily toxins or other buildups like that.
Cool. Max says, besides alkalinity, calcium, and magnesium, what do you recommend to dose?
Well, depends on who you ask, I guess. Most tanks, you need to have some kind of coral food. Once you start in to get other things like amino acids and all this other trace elements and stuff like that, you have a lot of mixed controversy. I believe for the most part, in soft coral tanks, mixed reef with LPS and stuff, a good salt mix. That is the backbone of it all because that has all your trace elements and your minerals and stuff like that. I think we use Tropic Marin. It's got 70 some odd trace elements and minerals that the corals need. If you have a not so good salt, it's not going to have those. But then adding it from a bottle without really knowing how much you need is not a great answer. You're better off having a good salt. But I know a lot of times with SPS tanks, amino acids are generally recommended because it helps with flesh growth.
Yeah.
So that we're going to cover in a future episode.
There you go.
Noah says, how does water change affect dosing? It should not affect it too much if you are getting a salt that is close to what you keep your, or no, vice versa. Keep your levels close to what your salt mix is. Another reason why to pick a proper salt mix, because some of them are going to have a 12 alkalinity. Some of them are going to have a 10. And then you are here keeping your alkalinity at 8 or 9. You go do a water
You're just
change,
fighting it.
you bring it back up, and now you're just fighting it kind of back and forth. So pick a salt that matches the best levels for your aquarium and what you're keeping.
There you go. Max says, when doing a water change, should you dose the clean water before adding to the tank to match your tank's level?
Kind of goes back to the comment we just meant, is use a salt as close to what you want to keep your tank at. So the FRAG tank here, I did do a water change with Tropic Marin in between these last 2 weeks. And just because I know that it is close to probably half to 3/4 of a point lower on alkalinity than I keep it at, I did one extra dose of alkalinity at the time of water change. So I mean, you could get precise and test the salt and dose that salt up to exactly, but if you're not doing massive water changes and not using a salt that's way off from what your parameters are, you should be fine. Hannah says, do you have recommendations for logging results? I used Excel. It wasn't pretty. I used an Excel sheet, and I just kind of made a little chart and it said what the tank was, all the additives, all the things I'm testing for, and a little notes field. And that's where I pulled that information from, and I would just put it in there, save it when I'm done, and just pull it up as needed. It's a good format because it's already charts.
Yeah.
So
I don't know what the name of it is, but I've searched on Google and I've found pre-formatted fancy Excel sheets that you can log your aquarium information in, even down to what your fish, your coral, etc. Things that you've added. And also I think there's some stuff on the App Store. What they are, I don't know, but if you go on your phone, there's apps for them. I think they're free.
Pretty much anything that just lets you make notes and have dates and stuff, you're good. That's all you really need.
Yeah.
So.
Kevin says, off-topic question. I like canopies on my tank. Is it safe to rest while on top of a Waterbox LX, Reef LX? I currently have a rimmed aquarium with a canopy.
No.
Do not recommend.
No.
Yeah.
And a big no.
Yeah, it's not designed for a canopy, unfortunately. But we may have solutions for that in the future, but you just have to keep an eye out.
Yep. Don't do it. All right. So that's good on that. Some good questions indeed. All right. So we talked calcium, alkalinity, magnesium, getting a doser set up, testing, figuring that out. The other key part of SPS aquariums is nutrients. You cannot have quite the dirty tank that you can and get away with a soft coral tank or easy LPS and softies. They're not going to tolerate it well. You also have to figure with SPS, you're putting more light in. More light added to nutrients means more algae. And then also, if you have too much nitrate phosphate, it will brown out your SPS corals.
Yeah.
Brilliant rainbow color thing you bring home and you put in your tank, your nutrients are too high, and suddenly you have a brown stick that is going to take a really, really, really long time to bring color back into it. Once you lose the color on a coral, it'll take 100 times longer to bring it all back and fight back on it. So nutrients is key. Generally is considered a low nutrient system, which means it's going to be nitrates. I think when we were talking to Joe, he said, sometimes 2 to 5. Depends on what kind you have and how established they are to it. So we generally are going to keep nutrients low in any aquarium, and specifically at SPS with skimmers and media reactors.
Yeah.
They're going to do the most work for the tank. So we have a little bit of video just to kind of explain protein skimmers and media reactors. The protein skimmer removes waste product, helping to keep your water quality within healthy levels. When choosing a protein skimmer, base your selection on high bioload and full system volume. So how does the protein skimmer work? As the pump pulls water in from the sump, it also draws air through the air intake of silencer, where the specialized impeller creates microbubbles from the air. With the use of a bubble plate, a dense mix of microbubbles and water is created in the body of the skimmer. The organic waste from your aquarium attaches to the microbubbles, creating a foam that flows into the collection cup. The collection cup is then cleaned of the skimmer waste as needed. When you set up a skimmer, you'll go through a break-in period, which can last a few days up to 2 weeks. During this time, slowly adjust the water level in the protein skimmer until you reach a steady foam production. Adjusting the water level in your skimmer is done with a water adjustment knob. Turning towards the open position will lower the water level. Turning to the closed position will raise it. Our choice in protein skimmers is the NYOS Quantum, which has 4 models available for aquariums up to 1,000 gallons.
Using carbon and phosphate removers will improve your water quality. They will help reduce organics, discoloration, and impurities. We recommend using a media reactor, which forces water through the media, therefore increasing its effectiveness. We don't typically recommend using a media bag in your sump, as most water will bypass it, rendering it ineffective. The NYOS Torque has many features that make it our top choice for a media reactor. The Torque is available in 3 sizes, which can easily be swapped out. It's also extremely easy to adjust the flow rates depending on the type of media being used.
All right, there
Great
you go.
video.
Yep.
It's great.
Good information about Skimmer, setting one up, media reactor. I don't know what we're doing here.
Oh man, things happen when the videos are showing.
Rich just joined us.
Yeah, I just showed up to the party. I have no idea what's going on. If you haven't already, gently graze the like button, okay? Helps us out a lot. It's also the currency to win the gift cards. That
Yeah, you have 2 $25 Worldwide Coral gift cards to give away towards the end of this, so you don't want to miss out on that. And it's going to be from all those that are active in here. And also, if hit the like button, subscribe, share, all of those good things. So, all right, so we went over protein skimmers, reactors. They're going to be what removes waste. The reactor is going to take away impurities, organics, which is going to help keep the water clean as well. So, of course, along with alkaline, calcium, magnesium, I've also been testing the FRAG for nitrates and phosphates. You do want to keep them relatively low, but also not too low. If they're too low, your coral is going to be kind of bleached looking, which is like very pastel-like colors, not a deep, vibrant color. So, turns out our FRAG is too clean. It is. We only have 2 clownfish in there, and we have this nice big protein skimmer.
Is it time to add more fish?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. So, we've gone through for this long with just a pair of clowns in there. One mandarin actually is in there just because he got moved over from the 220, and I haven't put him into the LX yet. But our nitrate is 0.1.
Wow.
And our phosphate is 0.01. And with 2 fish in there,
Too clean.
it is too clean. With 2 fish in there, I've been trying to just throw like extra like mysis and stuff in their face, but it's not enough. So they can only eat but so
We're
much.
intentionally overfeeding.
Yeah, and I don't want to just like throw extra pellets in there to make waste, just because then that's going to cause sand issues. So I'm going to turn off the skimmer in the reactor for the next week. I want to build up some nutrients. It's weird to say, I need the tank a little bit dirtier. And then we're going to have to add some fish in here. So it's actually too clean, which is the opposite problem most people have. But we also have barely any fish, whereas most tanks always have a handful or too many fish.
Yeah.
So there's a
We
delicate
actually
balance.
liked it before when it was, it was the mixed reef. It was kind of neat just having a couple fish in there, and the focus was
It
on
was
the
nice
corals.
and flowy.
Yeah.
A lot of those were corals that we could spot feed to supplement.
Yeah.
And that came down to what it worked at that point. And because we were spot feeding LPS corals and putting extra mysis in there, our nitrates were always a little bit higher. But with going rid of all of that, you can't spot feed SPS all that much. So we actually have too clean of a tank.
Which is not overly uncommon too. I mean, I know a lot of these low nutrient systems, sometimes they have to feed a lot.
They do.
You're pulling so many nutrients out with all the flow and the heavy skimming, et cetera.
If you
The
go,
water changes.
yeah, a lot of times, and I think it's probably true at like Worldwide, is they have a ton of fish in their grow out tanks. A lot of times they're big filler fish or big old tangs or stuff like that. And a lot of times they actually have to dose nitrate and add nitrate to the water because it is kept too clean for what they want to increase that growth. So we're going to unplug those things because they are very good at nutrient control and let it dirty up just a little bit. It's a fine line. I don't want to promote algae and I don't want to skyrocket nitrates either. So I'll be continuing to test and monitor those things. You'll probably see some new fish coming soon.
Your favorite thing is testing.
I love testing.
Yeah.
Not at all, but it's necessary.
It's necessary.
I got a little testing set up right by my computer.
There you go.
It's not good, but gotta do it. I've been keeping an eye on it. Haven't been able to get the nitrates up with those things running, so that's our plan, and I'll definitely kind of keep you guys posted on how the nutrients play out with that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right on.
I don't know if there's any other questions.
I think we're done here. We'll see you guys tomorrow. take anything
I think we're all out
seriously.
of practice here.
1 week off and it
One
just
week
all
off and we're
falls
a
apart, you guys.
mess.
This is unbelievable.
Don't even know. We got it all mapped out. It don't even matter. We don't even know what we're doing. I'm going to say we're
Seriously
not.
though, what are we doing?
Questions?
Questions, Q&A. If you guys have questions, put them below. Also,
I don't know
if you
if
guys
they're-
haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell.
Yes. I feel like we're not doing questions.
Yeah. Sorry, we're not gonna, you can't see me through the camera.
You didn't look at me. All right, we're not doing questions. Anyway, that means it's time for a gift card
This is the best
giveaway.
part about a live show. You guys get to see all the
But,
you know,
yeah,
all the
this is how
kookiness.
real put together we are. I know. No, we're good. It's seriously a week off totally messed us up.
Yeah.
All right, so we have winner 2 Worldwide Coral gift cards. All right,
Beautiful.
winners
Drum roll.
are.
There you go. AA Ron. He told me to do. Aaron Montgomery and Ryan Crow, congratulations. You guys do $25 Worldwide Corals gift cards. Email winners@waterboxaquariums.com. They will get you hooked up.
It was Keenan's idea. You want to say AA Ron. Just so you know.
I think I did it right. Was that right?
Yeah. So hopefully, I think there's a lot of good information.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then next week we get.
43 minutes of it.
Wow, how'd that
Yeah.
happen?
Yeah.
All right. Well, next week we're going to add more SPS to the FRAG from Worldwide, and we're also going to be talking about properly feeding SPS, which was a lot of questions you guys had. So definitely tune in for feeding, additives, all that stuff next week on the FRAG.
Beautiful. Thank you guys so much for being here. We will see you tomorrow.
We'll see you tomorrow. See ya.
Thank you all for watching. Make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Remember, you can visit us online at waterboxaquariums.com.
We're live every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks for watching. See you next week.